Welcome to the very first episode of Extraordinary Ordinary Women. I am excited to be able to share with you stories of ordinary women in our community who have had a dream or an idea and followed it to fruition. Their stories will encourage you, uplift you, and hopefully inspire you to ignite the seeds of greatness in your heart. For it's through sharing that we come to realise that we're not Robinson Crusoe all alone on our island, but that there is, particularly now with social media, this network of truly amazing women. Having found this for myself when my life has turned upside down, it is my gift to those women to be able to pay forward the gift of encouragement. So, without further ado, I have great pleasure in introducing you to Lou Forsyth. Lou comes from a teaching background where she moved into the position of head of the primary department at a local private school, and upon retiring set about opening Blue Wren Creekside Cafe together with her husband John. Good morning and welcome, Lou.
Thank you very much.
Firstly, Lou, what led you to opening Blue Wren Creekside Cafe after you had retired?
I worked for a very long time teaching, and I thoroughly enjoyed having 2 years just to do the things I wanted to do when I wanted. But I do enjoy being busy, so having had 2 years of looking around, I went to, which included going to local gardens that were of importance. And one particular one that inspired me completely was Kentucky Roses, which was a stunning garden, but she also operated a small cafe in her garden, and she was open on weekends. So it was sort of it all just fell into place, really, and I thought, well, I could do something like that. And that was my little dream.
Excellent. Now, your garden is truly magnificent. I've seen it. And it also has an equally magnificent creek defining the northern boundary. What did you need to do before opening the cafe?
Probably the very first thing is to take in a huge breath of confidence.
Indeed.
And listen to some friends who said, yes, you can do this. So we had to apply for council approval and tick the boxes there. That the council were very helpful with that, so that wasn't a huge issue. Had to get all the signage ready for the cafe. We had to make sure the garden was ready for the cafe. Had to find a good coffee machine that could help me, but I started this with the idea that I didn't want to spend a great deal of money, because in case it didn't work, I didn't want to lose a great deal of money.
Indeed.
So we set everything up, got everything ready. I had to have a toilet built in the garage, which has been a huge benefit anyway for us all around in the garden. So it just all seemed to fall into place, seemed to be the thing that was meant to be.
So you've mentioned a few struggles there. Were there any other struggles, perhaps? How did you go about advertising?
Again, along the same line, that I didn't have a huge budget. I didn't want to have a huge budget. I have always been keen on technology and still am, and so I thought I would embrace social technology, and I have used Facebook and developed a couple of different web pages, but it has been Facebook that has really been my best form of advertising. And what goes on behind the scenes even more so, and that's word of mouth.
Yes, that is so valuable, isn't it? Now, opening day, please do tell us about that. How are you feeling, and how did you feel at the end of the day? I can imagine that you stepped right out of your comfort zone.
Entirely out of my comfort zone. I had 8 friends who beautifully came along along to help me. It all went really well. We had lots of guests arrive, and it was a brilliant day. But I just remember standing back in awe and thinking, how am I going to do this by myself? There are 8 people here all running. How am I going to do this just on my own? But I couldn't complain. It was fantastic.
Now, something special happened on opening day. Tell us more about that, because to me, this is rather exciting, as it is an example of how the universe aligns with us, or we align with the universe.
Yes. Unbeknownst to me, one of the guests who arrived on that day was a photographer for a very special magazine called Country Style, and she loved the garden and asked if she could possibly take some photographs of it. And from that developed a beautiful story that was perhaps the best advertising I could ever have for the cafe, and a local lady, Lynn Walker, wrote the article for it, and it was just beautiful.
Absolutely beautiful. It just really fits with my idea of, the universe aligning. It's a beautiful story, Lou. And finally, what have been the rewards of this journey?
The very big one, I think, is that we have met so many wonderful people. We haven't had a single person come into the garden that we wouldn't welcome into our home. They have all been just beautiful people, a lot of them gardeners, a lot of them country people, a lot of them families. So we have a lot of events celebrating family functions, and they're particularly enjoyable because you want it to be just right for those people.
Yes.
So people firstly would be the best thing that's happened. People encompasses also the helpers that I've had, and they really have been remarkable. I've seen the growth in them, and I adore them. I think they've been just the best asset I could possibly have. I think the cafe has also ensured that we have maintained the garden with purpose. So it can be, if you don't have a focus or don't have the time, it can be very easy to let a garden go. But I think someday during spring, summer and autumn, make sure you keep that garden going, which is great because that's what I love. I learnt a massive number of new skills. I would never have foreseen me pouring a coffee, and I do very little of that anymore, but my husband's certainly a great barista.
He is, isn't he? Yes.
That's been a wonderful outcome. I didn't think I would ever cater for the number of people I have catered for. Our Mother's Day, particularly, we had sort of over 100 guests during the day, and not in my wildest dreams would I ever have thought I could do that. But it's great fun. I love it. I love the challenge of getting all the cooking done and all the organisation done, and it seems to all come together. And on the lighter side, it's also been lovely to receive some beautiful compliments from people. So that's a lovely reward.
It is, isn't it? Yes, yes. And you also open your garden for special occasions for people who want to book their weddings there. And I know from the giving perspective, it is so beautiful to see, whether it's a wedding or a special occasion, but to be able to share your garden and have it lighten up the life of other people, to bring joy to other people. That is such a big reward, isn't it?
It is, and they are very special occasions, and meeting with them beforehand, the last minute changes or whatever they need doing, just making it as good as you can for them really is a delight.
Yes.
The delight is in giving.
Yes, it is indeed, actually, yes. Well, Lou, thank you very much for sharing your story here today. I've been part of your journey. Oh, my pleasure. I've been part of that journey, and I've been privileged and honoured to see how it has developed into this magnificent, prestigious place that it is. So thank you. So, ladies, next week I look forward to introducing you to another extraordinary, ordinary woman. Bye.